Hi, I'm Betsy. Welcome to your 30-minute all levels yoga practice. This class is accessible to all people. You just give it your best go. All we need is a yoga mat and some comfortable clothes to be able to move in. We're going to start standing today. Come stand at the very top edge of your mat and place your feet hip distance apart. So if you're looking down, if I make two fists, I've got room for both my hands to place down in between. About like that. Point the toes straight ahead and your heels straight back. Why does it matter so much? Some would say that it doesn't. But can we take this much detail and attention to the way we stand? What and how can that translate in our life off of the yoga mat? Turn the palms in, hands down by your side. And this posture that breeds confidence, that breeds a sense of knowledge about ourselves. Breathe in. Breathe out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Keep breathing, of course, and lift your arms up to the sky. And then exhale, bend your knees and fold over. Make all 10 fingers touch the ground as you release the head. I do want to bend in your knees here so that this doesn't cause any strain. Shake the head a little bit, yes and no. And then keep your right foot where it is and step your left foot back. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit until you get into your full stride of a low lunge. Hands on either side of the foot or hands to the inside of the foot. Inside of the foot is going to give you just a little bit more space. A lot of folks like it that way. Others like hands on either side. Lift your hips 2 inches higher up. Tone the back leg. Pull up on the kneecap. Tone the quad. We're going to pay really close attention and detail. Go slow in the practice today. It's not always a super slow practice, but we're going to take our time with it today. Really get to know a few of these shapes. Lift your right hand up. I always notice when I really slow down the yoga practice, I get a lot out of it. One of those things is that my muscles feel a little sore the next day, a little more so than normal. And I know, oh, that really did some work after all. Bring the hand back down and lower your left knee to the ground. Can you take the top of the left foot to the ground and go down to the hands? Bend your elbows just a little bit. And like you're doing tiny little push-ups here, just down and up a couple of times. Down and up, down and up. And then keep the arms straight and look straight ahead. Move back around to all fours. Place your knees underneath the hips and your hands under the line of the shoulders. We're still giving good attention to detail here. So if you look down at the hand, we've got this crease in the back of the wrist. And I want that line, that crease, to be pretty much straight with the top of your mat. Round your back, cat pose. Press down through the hands, down through your knees, round, round, round. Keep doing this. Just cat pose. Round and strong, strong core. Squeeze the glutes. And then come back to neutral. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, and stretch. So downward facing dog is like our inverted V shape. Look forward to your hands, bend the knees, and walk your feet back up to the top of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips, point the elbows to the sky, lift your head, chin, chest, and stand up. Release the arms down by your side. You're back here in mountain pose. Again, just really moving slow, steady, finding each pose, even the most basic forms today. Mountain pose, stand. Where do you feel your power, your presence? Okay, inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, touch down. Keep your left foot forward and step your right foot back. And again, it might be a few steps until you find your whole stride. You're trying to use a pretty good length of your mat though. I have been told from my yoga teachers that a regular yoga mat is made for folks that are about 5'8". That in downward facing dog or these big lunges, somebody that's 5'8" would be taking up virtually the whole length of the mat. I like to keep that in mind. I'm shorter than that. I'm not going to use as much of the length of the mat, but just a gaze of like, where should I be? How much length should I be taking up? All right, keep the right hand down and stretch the left arm up to the sky. I try to give you some of these pauses as well. Hand down to the inside, back knee down. So you have a little bit of breath, a little bit of time to just kind of find it, work with the pose on your own. Set the top of the foot down to the mat. And again, can you go down to the flat palms? And we're keeping the left knee, squeeze it in, close to the outer shoulder. And then those little baby push-ups, just like little bend up and down. And what I'm hoping to do really is to work into the back hip flexor, the front of the the front of the right thigh right now. Just a little more room and space. And then keep the arms straight and look straight ahead. Okay, you can push back away from that and come to all fours. Again, crease of the wrist lines up with the top line of the yoga mat. Cat pose, press down through the hands and knees, round your back. Come back to neutral, and this time let the belly drop down. But instead of this collapse in the shoulders, we still stay pretty broad in the shoulders and pull the chest forward and through. Look a little up towards the sky, cow pose. And these two are usually worked in just to flow right into one another. I like to just kind of break it down. How does each of them feel individually? Okay, and then press back to child's pose. It's knees apart, big toes together. Fold your chest in and reach the arms out in front. And I know if you're watching this, you're working in the practice with me. Some of you are going to be familiar with yoga and with these movements, and some of you are going to be less familiar. That's totally fine. Week by week, I hope we all gain some familiarity with things, and I'll give us some different challenge points every week. I'll also make sure there's some just good, doable, feel-good stretch in the pose as well, or in the practice. Okay, come back upright and bring your knees in together and sit all the way back down onto your heels. Sometimes this is too much flexion in the knee and it doesn't feel great. If that's you, sit up tall like this and work the pose from there. If it's okay for you, I do want you to sit down on the heels, and it's going to give us this nice stretch through the front of the foot and in the quads at the same time. Interlace the hands, flip the palm, and reach the arms straight up towards the sky. Push a little more through your thumb and your first finger. Sometimes if we're hypermobile, we'll start to really arch here. I want you to still think neutral through the spine. So belly button in towards the spine and lift the chest. And take the arms back down by your side. Come back to all fours. Step your right foot through and lift the back knee off of the floor. From the low lunge, now spin your left heel flat against the yoga mat and bring your right knee to your thigh. I'm going to keep looking down at the right foot here and push back through your back leg. Take the top arm palm down and reach overhead. A great way to work and build strength and stamina in the poses is to go stage by stage like this. Okay, so you either keep that stage or you decide, nope, I've got a little bit more stretch. Take the hand back down to the floor and look up towards the sky. Work your breath. Everyone come back, elbow to knee, top arm to the hip, and look up. So if you were looking down, try looking up now. And then lift the torso upright for warrior two. Now, regardless of who we are, I am sure that your front thigh is burning here. We are working time under tension for the muscles. Straighten the leg, right? We don't have to move so super fast. We can really take our time with things and see a lot in the practice. Hinge from the hips, keep both legs as straight as you can, and lower your right hand. Now, your leg is a good prop, if you will. It can be hand lower on the ankle or higher up, just above or below the knee. Take the top arm to the sky for triangle pose. Huge tone in the belly here. Navel always working its way in towards the body so you stay good and firm. And then stand it all the way back up. Bend the knee. Set both hands down. Come around to all fours. Pause here. Okay, we're going to do this on the second side. I'm going to stay facing the same direction the whole time with you today. Step the left foot forward, and we'll bring the back knee off the ground. Nice long stride. From here, spin the back heel down to the floor. Lift your left elbow to the left knee, right hand to the hip. All right, so rather than letting your seat stick out back behind you, make sure before adding on here, you've drawn the right hip a little bit forward, and from the top of the left seat, you're trying to circle down towards the floor. And the more that you circle, top of the seat down towards the floor, it'll deepen the bend and the opening and the inner thigh. Right arm, palm down, reach it overhead. Look down at your left toes. Give weight and attention to that back foot. It'll help the front leg not fatigue as quickly. Okay, you're staying there, or take it into a deeper stretch. Fingertips down to the inside edge of the foot. Remembering that's not a have to, it's just an option. Because the next option is elbow back to the knee for everybody. Top hand to the hip. Look up towards the sky. And let's bring ourselves up to warrior two. Both arms extend in either direction. Look out over the front fingertips. Wow, feel those legs, right? That is you. Straighten the left leg. Keep both legs as straight as you can, and then from the hip, press to the right and lean to the left. And then we're not having to reach for anything. We're just dropping bottom arm down, top arm up, triangle pose. Don't let the butt stick out. It's still a little bit of a scoop underneath you here. Come all the way back upright. Rebend the front knee, lower the hands, lower all the way to all fours. Set the hands as wide as the shoulders, knees as wide as the hips. Each and every time we're finding that good setup and alignment. And then now you get to do cat and cow, just going back and forth between the two positions. Okay, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift the knees off of the mat, and stretch all the way through. If you keep the knees more bent, it might make it easier to get the stretch in the arms and the back. And then you gradually, whether it's now or over time, maybe pedaling the feet one at a time, you gradually lengthen and stretch through the back of the legs. So we want the stretch and the length through the spine, and then through the back of the legs, hamstrings down towards the calves and heels. Okay, lower the knees down, knees a little bit apart, big toes together, press back, child's pose. Let your arms, let your head relax here. We've already done this. Come upright, knees together, sitting back on your heels, or you can sit upright in the kneeling position. Interlace the hands. And then this time I just want you to flip so the other favorite finger is on top. It will feel just slightly awkward, and that's the way you know it's the second favorite hand. Send palms forward and lift the arms up to the sky. Press through, thumb and first finger. If you start to get that big arch, think again, belly button back towards the spine, straight up and down here. Okay, release the arms and give it a little bit of a shake. Each week we'll have a little bit of a different focus, so we're staying in the legs, strong in the lunges today. Stand all the way up. And if you're regularly coming to the Betsy Poos Yoga portal and finding these 30-minute exercises and practices, we'll build on week by week so that you have a few to choose from. And I'll make sure to label them so you know, hey, this is all about lower body today. top of the mat. Again, finding that steady mountain pose. And then inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Look straight ahead. Take a little bend in your knees. Keep the right foot forward and step the left foot back into a high lunge. Squiggle the foot maybe 2 inches further back into a slightly longer stance than you first chose. All right, this is a little thing, friends, but it can be a big thing. Pull the heel forward, your left heel forward, and then one more time, try scooting the back foot an inch or 2 further out. That's it. Hinge forward. Lay your belly down as close to your thigh as possible. And when we're thinking progressive stages, maybe this is the progressive stages that works best for you, and you keep holding this, you keep working this. The next stage is a twist, elbow to the outside of the knee. Try stacking palms, right elbow straight up to the sky. Great variation of this is the back knee down on the mat. That extra challenge is to keep the back knee up. Give it 2 more breaths. And then untwist, arms straight out in front and come back upright. Step the back foot to the front. That step in is always super heavy, right? Give it a little bit of a shake. One more side, reach the arms up to the sky. Keep the left foot forward and step the right foot back. Again, keep edging it out until you feel like you're in your full stride. Giving the arms some work by keeping them overhead. A little more opening in the shoulders, strengthen the belly that comes in with that. And then longer than you thought you could. So we're going to pull the back heel up over the toes. Bigger flex in the foot and then scoot the toes back 2 more inches. So everything just gets a little longer, a little lower to the mat. Don't go so much that it's beyond your comfort zone, okay? Lean forward. You get a little relief there, like literally lay the belly down onto the thigh. Let the 2 work with one another. You're doing that or adding the twist, palms together and twist. It's elbow away from the leg, or you get it all the way in. And we stumble, we fall a lot. That's just a part of the practice. It's a part of life, right? So you can try the challenge even if you're a little wobbly with the back knee lifted, or if you know, best for me right now, a lot of stability, you take the back knee down. This very physical practice on the mat has taught me so much about how to work with myself off the mat, in daily life and work life and home life. Step the back foot up to the front leg. And release the arms. I try not to get too cheesy on you, but really, so much of this physical work can be so important and transformative off of the yoga mat as well. I want to give you one more standing pose that's more of a stretch. Take the feet wide apart, toes straight ahead, heels straight back. And then turn the toes out just a hair and bend your knees. We all want to bend our knees for this one today. And take the hands down to the floor until you can catch yourself. Okay, the legs are loaded. They're pretty strong and steady here. We're going to keep that, but there's still a little more weight in the toes than there is in the heels, just a little. And then if you have range, go for straighter legs and head closer to the ground. Knowing that there may be a bend in your knees, it's totally fine. we're looking for a little bit of release in the spine and a nice light stretch through the back of the legs. Not overdoing it. Let yourself breathe, let it be. And then the hands can come back to the thighs, more bend in the knees to help you safely come all the way upright. Heel toe your feet in. Give everything a little bit of a shake. Let's spend our last few moments of practice together back down on our yoga mat. Cross your legs. And a lot of times, when folks take a seat in their yoga practice, they're lining up heel to heel here. That's intense. We're gonna go a little deeper. It's a different intensity, and try to take our ankles under the knees here now. And then I want you to fold over. And can you take it down to your forearms, or maybe it's resting your elbows on your legs? Lower as it works. We did a lot of front to back lunges in our practice today. This lets us have a little more stretch on the outer hip after all of that work. Okay, you'll come up, notice which foot is in front, and just switch it so that it's now the foot that's behind. And then same thing. Simple as just leaning over. And we're looking for some stretch again in the outer glute, outer hip. So sometimes it takes a little bit more. One side versus the other might feel a little different. That's how we're built. Normal and good. Give yourself a few more breaths. Okay, and then come on back up and stretch your feet out straight in front of you. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. Sit up as tall as you can here. With the legs straight out in front, we're making an L shape in the body. Take the hands down by your side. So in Sanskrit, this pose is Dandasana. It's staff pose. It's always harder, I think, than it looks. So we're just trying to make an L shape in the body, but with that much postural awareness, you might start to notice that you are leaning back a lot, depending on the range of motion in the hips and just natural tendency of your posture. So let's help ourselves out simply by bending the knees and getting that nice full lift. And then hands by your side. Look at your toes with the feet flexed and toes straight up in the air, that gaze being right at the tip of the toes. And I'm still doing a ton of work, but I can get that full lift in the spine. And then maybe just inching your legs out a little straighter, taking a pause, noticing if it works, a little bit straighter, letting them stop anywhere along the line that's needed so that you do keep that full lifted spine. Do keep the heels on the ground the whole time. Some of us have a little more range in the body and could flex so hard that the heels come up. That's a little much on the back of the knee joint though. Keep the heels on the ground. Pause and breathe here. Gaze right at your toes. Maybe try to spread them really wide. Push through the big toe. I'll keep myself interested and engaged like that sometimes. And then rebend everything and lie down onto your back, knees into chest. I'll usually close with you in final relaxation, giving you the option to stay there as long as your time allows. Bring the soles of your feet down on the mat and let the knees fall in towards the center. Both hands on the low belly for a moment. I have a tendency to rock the low back off of the mat. I'm going to lengthen the tailbone, get most of your low back to lie down onto your mat, onto the floor. It doesn't have to be a hard press, it's just a little encouragement. Be aware of your breath. Notice the rise and fall of the breath in your hands. If that position feels good, stay there. If you'd like to extend the arms and legs all the way down, close the eyes, please do so. This is Shavasana. The ask is to do as little as possible here. Allow the body to really take in all of the benefit of the movement that you just did to this place that I hope is more easeful now than when you began. I encourage you to stay here for 1 to 2 minutes, maybe even more. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.